Okay, 1 minute. Okay. Is my screen visible? Everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Karthik.
Yes, sir. Visible.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so without any further delay, let's begin our class. In today's class, the agenda is, these are the agenda that we are having for today's class. The first thing is that I'm going to share the Python syllabus that I'm going to cover. And then I'm also going to discuss why Python is an all-rounder. Okay, both theoretically and programmatically, we are going to see how Python programming language is an all-rounder that we are going to see both theoretically as well as programmatically. And then we are going to list out some features of Python, because whenever you're going to an interview, the interviewer might be asking you, or they will ask you, can you share some features of Python? So you should be in a position to explain some features of Python. So that one we are going to cover. And then I'm going to cover the limitations of Python. What are the setbacks or drawbacks of Python? I'm going to cover. And then I'm going to cover what are the flavors of Python we are having, flavors of Python. So all these things I'm going to cover. Okay. In today's class, I'm going to give you the Python syllabus. Python, I'm going to cover why Python is an all-rounder, both theoretically and programmatically we are going to see. And then features of Python we are going to understand, limitations of Python we are going to understand, and flavors of Python we are going to understand. Please, Roman, don't do this. Can you undo that? Okay, so here what we are going to see here is I'm going to list down the syllabus of Python. Okay, so I told you that I will be teaching you complete Python. I'm not going to teach you a surface level of Python. I'm going to teach you complete Python. So whatever the language is having, all those things I'm going to cover. So the first thing under complete Python, I'm going to cover the language fundamentals. I'm going to cover language fundamentals. This is the first topic that we are going to cover. And then in any programming language, we will have a concept called operators. That also I'm going to cover in detail. And then I'm going to cover about input and output statements in Python. So any programming language should be taking input statements, and after that it should be printing some output statements. So that also we are going to see. And then program will not usually go in the order like how we write. It might take some decision making statements. The flow of the program might change based on the condition. So I'm going to teach you even the flow control, where you will be learning about if, else, elif, and else. All these things you are going to learn here. And then I'm going to teach you about a pattern application. Any interview you are going, they will test your knowledge on patterns. They will ask you to draw a pattern of a Christmas tree. They will ask you to draw a pattern of a star. So once you are confident in this pattern, that means you know how to work on the flow control statements, and then you are very good in that one. That is when you will be able to successfully work on pattern application. So that one also I'm going to teach you. And the next important concept is strings concept that I'm going to teach you, because in the real world, strings is nothing but a combination or a collection of characters put together. We call it as a strings. So all in our real-time application, we will be dealing with a lot of strings data type only. So that one we are going to cover. And then I'm going to teach you a Python specific data type called as a list data structure. I'm going to cover Python specific data type I'm going to cover, that is called as list data structure. And then we are going to cover something called as tuple data structure. and then we are going to cover something about set data structure. I'm going to teach you. All these are Python inbuilt data types, and it is very useful in all our real-time applications. Once you are learning and getting a hands on it, it will be really helpful for you. And then I'm also going to teach you a concept by name functions, because anytime we are going to write, going to use this set of lines of code again and again. We will not write the code everywhere. We will create a reusable utility and call that as a function, and we can keep using it. Maybe once you're coming there, you will be able to understand that concept clear. So I'm going to teach you about modules. I'm going to teach you about packages. I'm going to teach you about object-oriented programming. Very, very important for interview. Okay, object-oriented programming in the real world, how computers are seeing each and everything, we are going to cover here. Object-oriented programming, that is OOPS concept, I'm going to cover. And then we are also going to cover another topic called as exceptional handling. Exception handling meaning all our program, whatever we are writing, will definitely hit an error. So the program should not abruptly stop in between. It should gracefully terminate. It should smoothly exit. It should complete. See, if you're writing 10 lines of code, in the 10 lines of code, there is an error in the fifth line. Abruptly, your program should not stop in the fifth line showing an error. It should complete the remaining lines of code and then say that there is a error in line number 5. So all these things we will be able to do that in exception handling. And then I'm also going to teach you another concept by name logging module. And then I'm also going to teach you another concept by name assertions. And then I'm going to teach you another concept by name file handling. And then I'm also going to teach you another topic called as object serialization. Very important. This one, if you want to use Python programming language to talk to some other programming language, then object serialization is very, very important. So we are doing object serialization by using pickle and then JSON and the YAML. So all these three things we are going to use. And then we are going to work on generators, another beautiful topic from Python. And then we are going to have another topic by name decorators. Clear, clear, clear. Yes. So these are the topics that I'm going to cover. All these topics, I'm going to cover in detail. I'm not going to give you an introduction to this topic. I don't want you to bring any prerequisite to the class. If you are sitting and attending the class right from the beginning, you can understand all these topics and you can really enjoy all these classes. If you are learning one programming language completely, all these things, learning another programming language will be very easy because you are confident in one language. In the other language, you are only going to see what is the difference. Clear?
Yes.
Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I thought there will be a question saying that how many days will it take to complete this one? Okay, how many days will it take?
I'm assuming close to a month, maybe.
Okay,
probably,
see, I would give you an assurance that if you are attending the classes regularly, no breaks in between, okay? If you are learning all these concepts thoroughly, and if you are able to understand and implement all these concepts, definitely I'll assure you that you can get a job as a Python engineer in any organizations, whether irrespective of any company, and then you can draw a very good salary. And this is going to give you bread and butter for the next years that you're going to work, because Python is not a language that it will die tomorrow, and it is gaining a lot of importance in the coming days. This language is not going to die, and even if this language is going to die, you very well know that Python, you have learned one language clearly. Jumping to another language would be very easy because you completely know one language. Okay, so pay your 100% concentration focus on learning all these concepts in Python. Whatever I'm going to teach, this complete Python is made up of core Python and advanced Python, both together, I am giving this as a complete Python, I am telling you, okay? And if you are learning this one, definitely you will get job, and you have to be confident in what you are learning. So I am trying to, I am targeting to complete, I want to keep a deadline that I want to complete it in 60 days. 60 days, I want to complete all these things. 60 days, I want to complete the above portion. Okay, so 60 days meaning no Saturdays, no Sundays. Every day is a working day. Every day I'm going to take the class for 1 hour, and then we are trying to complete. Clear?
There's sir, one question.
Yeah.
How about adding 1 or 2 projects on applications like machine learning, artificial intelligence, or web applications?
Definitely we will do that. Definitely we will do that once we complete Python, and then we are getting into projects. That is definitely there. But this, in that 60 days, I'm not bringing in project. After 60 days, when we are completed, definitely from my end, I would bring up daily. I'm going to come up with one hour of technical content where it will be helpful for a common man, so that that will build him, and also he can make a career out of it. So that is my motto. So that is the reason I gave here, that these are the 3 things that I concentrate. I believe that anyone can learn programming. Programming is a digital art form, and once you learn it, you can unlock the wings of creativity and become an artist. Programming can liberate you from the monotony of routine work. So I'm going to give you technical content for every day for 1 hour. So after this complete 30 days, 60 days, when we are completing, definitely we are going to have projects on people interested in web development, or people interested in artificial intelligence, machine learning. Few other projects are also there, so we can explore a lot many things. But first we need to complete this 60 days, and then only we can go there. Clear?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now proceeding by, I want to teach you that Python is called as an all-rounder. Python is called as an all-rounder. Do you know in cricket we call a person as an all-rounder? When do we say in cricket that person is an all-rounder? Huh?
And he can bowl, he can bat.
Where he can bat well, where he can bowl well, where he can field well, where he can do everything, then we call that person as an all-rounder. Likewise, Python is called as an all-rounder for these things. First thing you need to understand that Python borrowed some good features from other programming languages, and then Python was developed. So Python borrowed borrowed a functional programming concept from C language. Python borrowed functional programming concept from C language, and then Python borrowed object-oriented programming concept from C++ language. All these are computer languages. Python borrowed all the beautiful features from other programming language, and it is built. Okay, and then Python borrowed scripting language feature from Perl and the shell scripting language. Python borrowed scripting language features from Perl and shell scripting language. It is borrowed all those things from them. And then Python borrowed modular programming features from modulo 3. Okay, and then still it didn't stop. Python borrowed its syntax. Okay, its syntax meaning how its grammars. Python borrowed the grammar from its own grammar. Python borrows its syntax from C and ABC language, from C and ABC language. Meaning that Python had taken all the good features from other programming language and then it is built, and that is why we called Python is an all-rounder. That's why we call this as a Python is an all-rounder. Clear, clear, clear.
Clear.
Yes.
Okay, now let me give you an example. Python borrowed scripting language feature. Python borrowed scripting language features from Perl and Shell script. I'm going to give you an example. Okay, let me open up my editor here. I have opened my PyCharm editor. Here in my PyCharm editor, I told you we can go and click on this project folder, new, and then click on Python file. And then the name of the file is a demo3. I'm giving demo3.py. It is already created. Now what I'm trying to do, I'm going to write some statements here. I'm going to write a statement by name. Print open and close simple bracket, then in single quotes, inside the single quotes I'm writing Python is a scripting language. I am writing Python is a scripting language. I am writing Python is a scripting language I am writing. Now, this is scripting language. I am giving you an example of how Python is acting like a scripting language because I am not creating anything further. See, I am only giving a print statement and directly giving a statement inside it to execute it. I am not given, like if you know Java or if you know C or C++, I am not writing anything in addition. If you know Java, you should understand that in Java we need to define public static void main, and then we need to open and close to give the class name, and then open and close the curly braces. All these things we need to do, but in scripting language directly we can give the statement, and Python and the scripting language will work. The same thing I'm going to give here. See here, the same thing I'm going to give here. 4 times I'm asking it to print Python as a scripting language. Then when I'm right clicking and run demo3, it is beautifully executing that Python is acting and Python is demonstrating itself as a scripting language. Clear, clear, clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now here I will give you an example. I'm giving example Python as a scripting language. I'm giving anything if you are writing in the before, if you are giving hash, if you are giving this symbol is called as hash, and if you are writing hash followed by anything, that line will not be executed by Python interpreter because it will take that as a comment. Those comments are meaningful information to the programmer or to the end user. Okay, it is not going to be executed. So example Python as a scripting language I'm giving. Now when I'm re-executing it, it will beautifully run and it will give me that Python is a scripting language. You're able to understand? Yeah?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
there is no concept in this example. There is no concept, no concept of functions. Directly we are writing the program. No concept of functions, no concept of classes. Okay, no concept of object. Directly I'm trying to execute a program. So this is one of the beauty of Python. Okay, clear? Can I show you another example? Click on the project, click on file, click on Python file. Now I will call this as demo4. Demo4 I'm going to give. Now I want to show you example of Python as a functional programming language. Example, Python as a functional programming language I'm going to give you. Now how this is going to work, carefully you need to understand. In Python, remember very well, in Python you can create a function by using the keyword def. I repeat, in Python you can create a function by using the keyword called which one?
Definition.
Def.
Def. Okay, and then after giving the keyword def, that means Python will understand, oh, the user is trying to create a function. What is function? All these things we will understand it when we are going into that one detailing. But just for in the surface level understand now. Python, if we want to create a function in Python, we have to use the keyword def, and then we have to give a name to it. So the name what I'm giving here is a F1. So here def is a keyword to define function, and F1 is the name of the function, and always the function name, after the function name is given, we need to open and close a simple bracket, and then we need to give colon. Remember very well. First, in order to define a function, we need to use the keyword def, and then followed by the function name. In this case, in this example is F1, followed by open and close the bracket, and then the function, we are defining a function and we are giving a name to it, that is F1, and after that we are giving colon. The moment when you are giving colon and hitting enter, automatically the cursor will start from here. That means whatever I'm writing from line number 4, it is going inside this function F1. That is why it is leaving this empty space and blinking from here. Clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I'm going to use same print statement. I'm saying in single quotes, I'm writing Python as a functional programming language. I'm writing. I have not taught you what is function, all these things and all, but I'm just giving you an example that Python can support various styles of programming. That is my motto. I am not teaching you Python function. Do not worry if you are not understanding Python function. That is not in our scope now. Later we will go in depth and make a deep study. Okay, now again I'm going inside the same F1 function. We're writing line number, second time I'm giving, third time I'm giving, fourth time I'm giving. Okay, now I'm still, could you see that the cursor is still blinking inside here? It's blinking inside the 8th line. That means it is still inside the function. If I want to come out of the function, hit the backspace, then it is coming out of that function. Now, if you are executing this program, the program name is demo4. If you are executing it, you will not see any output because you didn't call the name of the function. Python is little expect little respect from you. Unless and until you are not calling, it will not respond. So you need to call this function, only then the lines inside the function will get executed. So what is the name of the function? Call it by name. What is the name?
F1.
F1. So F1 you call, open and close the bracket. Now when you are calling, it will go inside this and print all the lines inside, which is present inside the function. So Python can work like a scripting language here. In this example, Python is working here as a functional programming language. In this example, one more example is there. Python can also work like an object-oriented programming also. Let me create another file on the project. Click on new Python file, and here give it as demo file. Demo file, I'm giving it here. Now what I'm trying to give, I'm going to give you an example. What is example? Example, Python as an object-oriented programming, or as an object-oriented programming. I'm going to explain programming language. Okay, this is another way that Python can still work. Okay, now for people who don't know what is object-oriented programming, do not worry, but just try to understand. This is one way Python also supports object-oriented programming. So in order to support object-oriented programming, we have not gone there, but this is a simple introduction. Even if you didn't follow it, no problem, but understand that Python can also support object-oriented programming style. Okay. Now in object-oriented programming style, in order to write here, in order to work, in order to make Python work like a functional programming language, what keyword did we use? Quickly, what keyword did we use?
Def.
We did
Def
define.
keyword. In order to make Python programming as an object-oriented programming, we have to use the keyword class. We have to use the keyword class, and I need to give the name of the class. So the name of the class, I'm giving it as tester, and then I'm giving colon meaning after giving colon, I'm pressing it enter. So anything that I'm going to write from the third line will get inside the class test. Okay, so inside this class test also, what I'm trying to do, I'm going to create one method inside the class test. I'm going to create a method. Do not worry if you are not understanding. This is not a scope that you need to understand what is a class or method, all these things. Try to understand that how Python supports different programming styles. So inside the method, I'm defining a method. Again, method, in order to define a method in Python, I need to use a def keyword. I'm giving the name of the function as M1. I'm giving some input called as self. Don't worry about it. Later, we will understand it when we are doing there, getting into this OOPS concept more in detail. Now, Python as a object-oriented programming. Python as object-oriented programming language I am writing. So let me copy paste this line 3 times so that it will be looking good. Okay, so inside a class, inside a method, I have written this statement. Now what I need to do, I'm coming out of the class and I need to give the class name. I need to call the class name. The name of the class is test. Yes or no?
Yeah.
The name of the class is what?
Test.
Tester. And then after calling the test, I'm assigning it to a small variable by name t. Don't worry about all these things. When I come there, I will explain in detail. Using that small t, I'm calling the method name. What is the method name here? M1. Now when I'm calling M1, only then this particular the control will go here inside the class, inside the method, and then it will print this statement. This is called as a Python is supporting as an object-oriented programming language also. Clear. Did you understand? Python is working as a scripting language. Python is working as a functional programming language. Python is working as a object-oriented programming language. No other language is supporting these many styles except Python. That is why Python is so popular in the industry. Did I make my point clear?
Yes,
Very
sir.
clear. One question, sir. One
Yes,
question.
quickly.
These functions and classes, do we have to write them very well before the main program starts, or it could come anywhere? They could come anywhere in the code.
I have not thought I have not thought based on functions and classes and all. But to answer your question, I will cover all these things in the detail in the coming classes. We
Okay.
can write it anywhere. It only depends upon when we are calling it.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, but this concept, this question, others can understand only when we are coming to that topic.
Okay, got it.
Okay, but good question. Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
Sir, yesterday's class, did we discuss about PyCharm installation? No,
Yes.
no. Oh, I see. I missed.
It was discussed and the video was published. Okay.
Okay.
Quickly, let's go into, I have showed you Python. Here in the scope, I have told you Python is an all-rounder. Theoretically, I have explained, and also programmatically, I have shown. Now, without any further delay, I am going to teach you features of Python. Any interview you are going, definitely they are going to ask you, can you explain the features of Python? They will ask, and it is one of the beautiful things that you should know. Okay. First, without any delay, I will list down all the features of Python. Later, I'm going to explain it one by one. Okay. Clear? First thing is that first feature of Python Python is simple and easy to learn. Python is simple and easy to learn. I'm going to
Sorry to interrupt.
Later, I'm going to
think
explain
somebody
it.
is on mute. Can you mute yourself? Sorry, I think. God.
Sorry, what happened?
Yeah, there was somebody unmuted. We were hearing background noise. I think he muted himself. He or she.
Can everybody
you
go
can
on
go.
mute?
Oh, actually, I had one question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Like the example which you showed, can you go there? like class test you took, right?
Yeah.
For class, can we take anything? Like any name, any this one, is there any keyword or specific terms to be used in classes?
See, the question is that I am not teaching classes here. I am not teaching functions here. The concept I want you to understand, Python is supporting all the three flavors of programming language. When I'm coming to OOPS concept, I'm going to spend hundreds of hours to explain this one. But the class, now to answer your question, is a keyword. And the test is a name that I'm giving to the class. So this question, only when we come to OOPS concept, it will help others also to understand better. I am not teaching classes and functions in detail now. It's just an introduction that Python is supporting different flavors of programming styles. Clear?
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Karthik, one more request. Would you mind stopping screen share and reshare to avoid the drawing?
Okay, yeah, that's true. 1 minute. Yeah. I need to stop sharing it and then do that.
Yeah, I think when you stop sharing, that should go away.
1 minute. I am not able to do so. It's not going. You're able to see my screen. Some
Yes,
basic
visible section.
etiquette should be there. When you're learning something, please do not play like this on the other screen. Okay. I'm not able to do undo something like that.
Just continue. That's okay. Just continue. No problem. Thank you.
Sorry, guys. Okay, the first feature of Python is that it is simple and easy to learn. I'm going to cover what is simple and easy to learn. I'm going to brief about it in some time, but let's jot down all the features of Python. And the next thing is that the second feature is Python is a freeware and an open source. It is a freeware and open source. And the third important feature is Python is a high-level programming language. High-level programming language, and Python supports a platform independent. All these things I'm going to explain in detail. Do not worry about it. And Python supports portability. It is supporting this feature also. And Python is a dynamically typed. Yesterday I gave a simple example about what is dynamically typed. And Python is both procedure oriented. I gave you an example for this, both procedure oriented and object oriented. This also I have covered some time before. And then the next feature is that Python is interpreted. Let us understand what is interpreter also. And Python is extensible in nature, and Python is embedded. Embedded is another concept. It is one of the beautiful feature of Python. And then Python has a extensible library. Python has extensible library. So these are some of the features of Python which makes Python so popular that the other programming languages are not having it. So anybody is asking you a question, okay, can you tell me why Python is famous? You should be in a position to explain this 11 features, and you need to be in a position to explain these 11 features in detail. Okay, now let me break open and let me explain each and every topic in brief. Can I do that?
Yeah, please.
Sure, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's put it. The first topic is it is simple and easy to learn. What is that we need to understand? Now, Python is a simple programming language. That is the first point you need to remember. And when we read Python program, we can feel that it is like reading English statement. That is the assurance that we are giving. Okay, Python is a simple programming language. Simple programming language. When we read or follow follow Python program, Python program, we understand it is closer to which language? It is closer to
C and C++.
English. It is not closer to C and C++. It is closer to English language. C and C++, it borrowed some good features from C and C++, but it is closer to English language.
Oh, okay, sir.
Okay, the next thing is that if you want to master Python, if you want to know completely Python, the syntax is very simple. If you want to learn English, you need to understand that 26 alphabets are there. You need to know all these alphabets. And then these 26 alphabets, what we do, we need to know how we need to pronounce it. And this combination of 26 alphabets, we will learn different words. And then we need to understand the meaning of the word. So learning English it's a huge task, because these 26 alphabets can give an enormous combination. There are so many English words. In a dictionary, in Oxford Dictionary, there are so many English words, and all the English words we are not aware about the meaning about it. But in Python, it is very simple. In Python, the syntax are very simple. The syntax are very simple, meaning the grammar of Python is very simple. And the beauty is that it only has 30 plus keywords. It only has 30 plus keyword. So if you know what is that keyword, where is it used, how it is used, then you are good in Python. Simple. How many keywords are there in Python?
30 plus.
30 plus keywords. That is why we call Python is simple and easy to learn. Clear?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the next point here is freeware and open source. Python is a freeware and open source. Why is it? What is this inside? It's a freeware and open source. We can use Python software without any license, and that is why it is a freeware. We can use Python software. We can use Python software without any license, and it is a freeware. Like that is not the case in Java. If you are using Java version 11 onwards, you need to pay a license money to the vendor called Oracle. Only then you can use it. But that is not the case with Python. We can use Python software without any license, and it is a freeware because Python belongs to a foundation by name what? I covered in the last class. Python Software Foundation. Okay. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Its a source code is open because I showed you in Python the source code is open so that we can customize based on our requirements, so that we can customize based on our requirement. So you can create, if you are very good in Python, you can create your own flavor of Python and give a name to it since it is open source. That is one of the beautiful feature of Python. The next feature is Python is a high-level programming language. What is that high-level programming language? See, in any programming languages, this programming language should be programmer friendly. Programmer friendly meaning I should write only very less lines of code and get the job done. So Python is programmer friendly. Why it is programmer friendly? Because using Python, I can write a concise code and I can get the job done. Clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Being a programmer, I don't need to worry about the memory management. I don't need to worry about the memory management and garbage collection. These are some of the concepts that C++ is needing. If you are working on a C++ project, you need to take care of memory management, you need to take care of garbage collection, but being a Python programmer, you don't need to worry about it. Python itself will take care of that one. Clear? The next important topic is Python is a platform independent. What is this platform independent? Okay, very simple. In the real world, how many operating systems we are having? In real world, we have Windows operating system, Mac OS operating system, Linux operating system, and Solaris operating system. Okay, so if I write a program in Windows, if I'm writing a Python program in Windows, can it work on Mac OS? Likewise, if I'm writing a program in Mac OS, can it work on Windows? Yes, it can work. That is the beauty of Python. Once we write a Python program, it can run on any platform. It can run on any platform without rewriting again, without rewriting again. That is the first point you need to remember. Now, how if I'm writing on Windows machine, how the same Python program can work on Mac OS? Because internally we have a Python interpreter. In other words, we can call that person as a PVM, Python virtual machine. He is responsible to convert the program into machine understandable form. He will take care of it. So I can write a program in any platform and I can run it anywhere. Clear?
Yep.
Internally,
Okay.
PVM is responsible responsible to convert into machine understandable form. Okay, that is why we call platform independent. And the next beautiful thing is Python supports portability. I didn't understand what is this portability. Now I was using Vodafone SIM, and after some time I didn't get good network connectivity. So using the same number, I can port my SIM from one network to another network. That is called as portability. Likewise, Python programs are portable. Likewise, Python programs are what?
Portable.
Are portable. How is this, Karthik? Can you just explain? We can write program on one platform and run it on the other. Okay, meaning I can write the program on a Windows machine, and since the security is very weak, I can migrate my program from Windows machine to Linux machine and still run it there. So Python supports portability. Python programs are portable. We can migrate from one platform to another platform very easily. This is not the case in other programming languages. Don't think everything is supported in other programming languages. In other programming languages, this is a real-time headache. If you're working in industry, you will know. Say suppose you're working on Java application, you want to migrate Java application from your server from Windows to Linux. It's a nightmare for you. It is not going to happen so easily. But in Python, it's just a cakewalk. Python program will provide same results on any platform. You guys are there with me? You're able to follow, or it's going above your head?
Yes,
We're getting it.
Looks good to me.
Okay,
Thank you.
Python is a dynamically typed. What is this? Python is dynamically typed. In Python, we are not required to declare the type for variables. You remember, I have not given a is equal to 10. If you can see here in my examples, if you are going here, I have not given integer a is equal to 10. I have not given float a is equal to 10.5. I am directly giving the value, and Python is understanding that one and storing the data accordingly. So Python is in Python, That is what we are saying. In Python, we are not required. We are not required to declare type of data. Okay, whenever we are assigning the value, whenever we are assigning the value, based on the value, type will be allocated automatically. Type will be allocated automatically. And this feature is called as a dynamically typed programming language. Hence, Python is called as a dynamically typed programming language. Dynamically typed programming language. Is this clear, guys?
Clear.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Clear, sir.
The next thing is that you need to understand both Python is both procedure oriented and object oriented. What is this procedure oriented and object oriented? We have just covered in some time back that Python supports both procedure oriented and object oriented features. That is the point that I like to give you. Python language supports both procedure oriented and object oriented features. Now you should ask me a question. Karthik, can you tell me in real world where procedure oriented is used, and can you tell me where object oriented is used in real world? Very simple. For example, if you know DevOps, DevOps is something we call it as what do you say? It is a culture and it is a philosophy where we are trying to implement automation for most of our development and operations. In that case, if you want to write any script or any program you want to build it for DevOps, then the best suitable design paradigm is procedure oriented. If you want to build any web applications, then Python you need to work with object oriented. So in different domains, in different needs, different style of Python programming can help, and it will be really helpful for you. Clear.
Yes.
Okay, interpreted. What is that in interpreted we would like to cover? In interpreter, we are not required to compile programs explicitly. Okay, now if you have worked with the Python, if you are worked with the C language, if you are worked with the C++ language, if you are working with the Java language, first there is the process of running a program in the C++ and Java. First you need to compile a program and then you need to execute the program. So there is 2 steps for executing a program. First compilation and then only execution. But in Python, we don't have this compiling process and all. Directly we can run it. That is what I'm trying to mention here. We are not required to compile a Python program explicitly. Python interpreter will take care that compilation. Python interpreter will take care of that compilation. So directly you run the program, you are not compiling and then running it. Directly it is taking care of your compilation. Clear.
Yes.
We have
Yes,
to
sir.
talk about extensible. What is this extensible? Very simple. Extensible meaning we can use other language programs in Python. This is the beauty. I repeat, we can use other language programs in Python. Python is not a moody fellow. If you are using other programming languages, it will not go and make it a sad face. It is saying I'm happy. If you want other programming languages, you can still use it in Python. Python is okay with that one. The main advantage of this extensible feature, the main advantage of this approach is we can we can use already existing legacy non-Python code in our application. Say for example, you are working on a .NET application. Okay, you are working on a old Java application. Now you want to add some new feature to that old .NET application, old Java application. You want to develop two new features. For the two new features, you can build using Python. So Python can work in that old .NET application, can work in old Java application, and it can help you. That is what I'm trying to cover here. We can use already existing legacy meaning any old code, any legacy non-Python code. Is everybody able to follow, or it's going above your head?
Hey, Karthik, I have a question.
Yeah. Let me complete this. Let me complete it. We can improve performance of the application by doing so. We can improve performance of the application by using this extensible feature. Yeah, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, so when we talk about extensible approach,
Yeah.
are we also saying, so you mentioned you can reuse existing code on Python. So if I mean, I'll take an example where if I have a bash script .sh file and I want it to run via Python.
Yeah.
That is also possible.
Yes, possible.
Would that be part of the procedural oriented section?
You can directly use scripting language, scripting feature of Python.
I see.
Okay, so in your bash script, you can add your Python script, and in Python script, you can write it in a style of a Python scripting, and then you can run it. It will beautifully work for you.
Okay.
Okay.
And would you also cover procedure-oriented approach in?
I'm going to cover complete Python. It includes everything.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
So the next feature is
Karthik.
Yeah.
What I thought the question was about not only executing the new Python code in old legacy code, but is that reverse also possible?
That's what I'm going to cover in embedded. Give me a moment, I'll cover it. We can use Python in any other languages also. We can use Python in any other languages program. Say for example, you have beautifully built one particular application which is using something called as Scala, or it is using some another programming language which is something called as JavaScript, okay, which is trending programming language. And you find that if you there is a feature that you want to develop in another programming language, and in that programming language you need to write somewhere around more lines of code, or your complexity to build that requirement is a little more complex. In Python it is very simplex, so you can use Python in other programs also. Say for example, that is a complete JavaScript application. There you can insert Python program, Python will get its job done, and even other programming languages will honor Python if it is there. We can embed Python programs anywhere. Clear? Yes, no?
Yes.
Okay.
I have another question.
Yeah.
When you say we can improve performance of the application with use of Python, are you talking about memory footprint or CPU cycles? Anything specific?
See, for example, that Python, when compared to other programming languages, Python is not super fast. It seems that we are writing less number of code, but when it comes to performance, when it comes to CPU performance, memory management, C and C++ are the greatest programming languages in terms of memory and performance. There, Python is very poor in terms of memory and performance, CPU counts, and effectively using all your things. There, in that case, Python is not effective. Python is coming into picture only when you want to write very less code, or you wanted to have a security purpose. You want to move your code from your Windows machine to a Linux machine. In that case, Python can be a real helpful tool for you.
Yeah, thank you. Because even
Python
in
has
engineering,
thank you.
A lot of Python codes rewritten in C++ to reduce memory footprint. That's what I've heard. Yeah.
Yes. So Python has a rich inbuilt library, meaning that, if you want to build any feature or any particular module in Python, already there are n number of Python programs available, and it is all put into a library. We just need to know the library name and the particular module name, and then we can start using it. So our life is made very simple and easy, because almost 99% of the code for whatever we need, it's already written by others. We just need to know how we need to use it. That's important. So that is something called as Python has a rich inbuilt library. No other programming language has so much inbuilt libraries except Python. Okay. So the next thing what I like to see here is being a programmer, we can use this library, directly, and we are not, okay, let me write it, and we are not responsible to implement the functionality. We are not responsible to implement the functionality. Okay, so everything is taken care by Python. Clear. So these are the features of Python, which is very important, and you should be in a position to explain each and everything. It's a simple and easy to learn, freeware and open source, high-level programming language, platform independent, portability, dynamically typed, both procedure-oriented and object-oriented. It is interpreted, it is extensible, it is embedded, it is sorry, two times I've written, extensible library. This is extensible library. Okay, so here this is what makes Python a beautiful programming language. If you know other programming language, you will appreciate how well Python is being built, because there are so many unique features that other programming language are still trying to scale up upon. Okay, and the next thing is that any programming language, if you're talking about the positives, it will definitely have some setbacks and definitely have some drawbacks in it. So let's discuss about the drawbacks of Python. Do you want to discuss drawbacks, or do you want to go with the good mood that Python is a super duper hero?
No, sir, we should know all the aspects.
Very good. So performance wise, limitations of Python, performance wise, not up to the mark, because it is an interpreted language. Okay, performance wise, not up to the mark. I will explain what is performance, then you will be able to understand. Performance wise, not up to the mark, because it is an interpreted language. Now, what do I mean by performance? Say, for example, you want to use your program, you're writing a program, and your program is your program is intended to do 3 or 4 tasks. This 3 or 4 tasks should be done effectively, or somehow if it is doing, if you're okay. Most of the times when we are writing a program, we wanted the 3 or 4 tasks what we are writing in a program should be done effectively. That effectiveness cannot be cannot be drawn when we are using Python, because Python is not a programming language for performance. If you are looking for performance, then you have to choose either a C or C++. Only these two languages are very good in performance, and right now the C and C++ are being superseded by Golang and Rust programming languages are gaining a lot of importance, because this Go programming language has something called as concurrency, where if you're having one core in your CPU, other programming languages will use only one core in your CPU. But if you are using Golang and these other programming language like Golang and Rust and all, it can use multiple cores in your CPU, and you can get very good performance results if you're looking for speed and performance. Okay, so limitations, that is one thing. And Python is not useful when we want to build or develop mobile application. Not useful for developing a mobile application. Why? Because Python, there is no libraries there for Python to support. If you still want to do, you can build Python, you can use Python to build mobile applications, but already there are some other languages which they are doing really good there. Python is not that great in that area. So these are the two limitations of Python. Clear? Clear.
Yes, got it.
Okay, last point, we are going to understand the flavors of Python. What is this flavors of Python? Is Python an ice cream that we get flavors out of it? Yes, we have a lot of flavors. You will be astonished to hear that we have so many flavors. Then you will enjoy all that. Okay, the flavor, whatever we are learning, that flavor is called as the standard version of Python. The standard version of Python is called C Python. What is the standard version of Python called?
C Python.
C Python. This is the Python that we are going to learn. Okay, wait a minute. Once you complete all the flavors, then you will be able to understand it more in detail. The standard version of Python is called C Python. That is the Python that we are using. Okay, there is another version or another flavor of Python. We call that as a J Python. We call that as what?
J Python.
J Python. This is a customized version of Python. Customized version of Python to work with the Java applications. This is a customized version of Python which can to work with the Java application. I told you Python source code is completely open. You can take it and modify it and change some requirements, and you can give a new name to it. And like that, Java programming language took Python. They modified a few components in it, and they called a new flavor of Python called as JPython. This is a customized version of Python to work with the Java application. Clear?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes.
We
Yes,
have
clear.
another flavor called as Iron Python. This is a customized version. This is a customized version of Python. This is a customized version of Python to work with C# application, C# or .NET application. Clear. Iron Python, this is a customized version of Python to work with C# or .NET application. So what they did, they took the Python source code, they did some modification, and they named this component or a new version called as which can be compatible with C# or .NET application. They call it as Iron Python. Clear?
Yes, clear.
Ruby Python is another flavor to work with the Ruby application, And then we have another version called as Anaconda Python. What Python we are having? Anaconda Python, which is used in a data science application, which works with a large amount of data, For example, if you are working on YouTube data, for every minute there are so many lakhs of videos that's getting uploaded. So in order to process so much data, we are using Anaconda Python, which is used in data science application, which works with large amount of data. Okay, and then we have another flavor called as PyPython. This PyPython is used for better performance. So if you want to use an Python application, you want to build a Python application with lot of better performance, you need to use something called as PyPython, which is used for better performance. So do not worry about all these things. We are not going to study all these things. We are going to study about the standard version of Python called as CPython. 99.99% this Python only we will use it extensively. This one, if you are going to be a Java application engineer, you're going to be a C# application, a .NET application, or Ruby application engineer, or a data science application engineer, then you might use this one. But being just a normal Python developer, this is more than enough, and that is what we are trying to cover in our syllabus. Clear? But you should know that there is a Python flavor called as JPython, Iron Python, Ruby Python, Anaconda Python, and PyPython, because these are some flavors that you should be aware of. That is why I'm giving you this point. Clear?
Clear, Mas.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So
Okay,
we
sir.
have, yeah.
Clear.
I couldn't hear.
Yes, sir.
Clear.
Okay. So we have covered the agenda for today. The agenda was we need to do Python syllabus. We have completed Python as an all-rounder, features of Python, limitations of Python, flavors of Python. So in tomorrow's class, we are going to begin with language fundamentals, the first topic in our class, and we will try to complete it. Okay. So see you in tomorrow's class. Okay.
Thank you, Karthik.
Thank you, Karthik.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Very much.